Hi guys, and hello from the hilltop. I'm Waxahachie Blue, and I welcome you to my channel, The Platter Perfectionist. Today's video is my October 2021 plan with me in my pink mackerel Techacore bullet journal. So my color for this month is the color of Maroon, and there's a bit of a story here. So, my grandfather was a diehard Aggie. In short, he went to Texas A&M here in Texas. I don't live in Texas anymore, but I grew up in Texas, and he liked to joke that his blood bled maroon. Sorry, there's a tongue twister in there. But anyway, so he was always a diehard Aggie, and we even have memorabilia and things from when he was alive that are Aggie related, and Texas A&M in specific runs deep rooted in our family history. So my niece, who is in her freshman year of college, is going to West Texas. Pardon me, sniffles. It is October, after all. It is the changing of the seasons. And while technically they are the Buffs or Buffaloes, I still kind of wanted to both combine her as well as an homage to my grandfather, and so I decided, since the color is maroon, we were going to go with a Texas A&M theme. More specifically, I centered this around the mascot for Texas A&M, which is the dog Reveille. And I'll give you a little more history about her later, but that's who I'm currently drawing now. So I decided to, so I have been trying to stick to my Crayola Super Tips as for my colors. So in that respect, I did the main background in maroon, and then accent colors of gray, which is another school affiliation color, and then green, because there are some ties to football, so I did want to include a little bit of green, because last time I checked, most football college fields are green. So here's the green. And then as for Reveille, the actual dog, I went with two different shades of brown to get that color of hair, and then a different gray to kind of distinguish between the gray I was using for the background and the gray I was using on the dog. The only exception is it looks like a saddle. I'm so sorry, it looks like a saddle, but she wears almost like a cape. Halter type harness, and as such it is maroon because that marks her as Reveille, and so that she got to keep that color. And then I just added some dots here to represent the fans, because if you ever go to a Texas A&M game, there's a lot of maroon in the fans, in the stands here, the stands of fans. Oh man, I am having a tongue twister today. So something interesting about the Crayola Super Tips in question. So if you look closely, the actual markers, they look like a really light pink, like the actual marker. But then when you put the ink to page, you get the maroon color. Same thing with one of the colors I used for the dog. The marker itself is a totally different color than the actual ink that you get. So there is a reason why I have a color coding system, because otherwise there was a couple of moments in here where I messed up I grabbed the wrong marker. It's like, oh well, this is the maroon. Nope, that's the brown. Okay. So yeah, it's October. We are almost done with this month. That's kind of mind-boggling. Not only that, but since I've been doing this color challenge, I have 2 more months. So November is going to be brown, and then December is going to be black and white. And then I also have a plan for what I would like to do for 2022. I can go ahead and tell you about it if you're interested in it. Basically, I noticed when I first started doing bullet journaling, I kind of avoided my super tips, something fierce. That's one reason why that's why I created the color challenge for this past year, as well as I've been trying to use them more often. Just like in October here, and then in other previous sprints before. So for 2022, I am contemplating doing what I am calling 2022 2-pin challenge. And basically at the beginning of whichever month I'm going to be doing, I draw 2 numbers because all of my markers are numbered, I have a color coding system. Draw 2 numbers out of a bowl, and then whatever 2 numbers I ended up getting are the 2 pins or 2 colors that I use for that month, and just see what that does creatively. You know, they could be completely and totally bad colors, or they could be very harmonious colors. You never know. It's kind of a spin the wheel kind of roulette bit. So, I mean, it'd be something interesting. I mean, if you know anybody who's done that before, by all means, send me a link to them, because I would love to see how theirs turned out. And just kind of, you know, there was a couple of months this past year where I got really stuck on inspiration. My blue space lines are a prime example. So I figured this would kind of push me out of my comfort zone a little bit, but in the best way. So hopefully you can see that she is a collie dog now that I've added more than just that one light colored sandy brown. Again, I apologize for the sniffling and snorting. By the time I'm doing this, it is already autumn, and my allergies are just like, hey, remember me? I'm back. And then I had this little empty space here, and so I decided to do a football, because football. Oh, something else that I would also like to include is the niece in question, who is going to college right now. Like I said, she's going to West Texas, but her brother, who has autism and stuff, he loves football. So some of the little bits in here, they kind of remind me of him as well. So I just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out. So for the actual 2-page calendar spread here, I wanted to keep it real simple. I did want to make it a little more professional than some of the other simple calendars that I have done. So I wanted to make sure that my lines were nice and clean and straight. I have found that I kind of like it mathing out so that my weekends, because remember I do Monday through Sunday for my calendars, are on the one page, and then the weekdays are on the other page. It just kind of, the spatial reasoning just helps my brain. As for the size of these particular boxes, I believe they are 5 by 5 dots. So, you know, start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dot, you know, that kind of thing. And then I actually didn't put anything in that blank space at the top of the calendar, but you know what? Sometimes negative space is good. Something I did want to include, just to kind of keep with the theme, was the game schedule for October. I ended up having enough space to do both the games for October as well as November. I had honestly forgotten that the Thanksgiving game is no longer against UT. It has been so long since I've actually sat and watched a A&M football game. Some of that is my fault. I will wholeheartedly admit that. Others is because other people in my life were UT fans, and so that took precedent over A&M. But I digress. So, yes, so I wrote out what the date of the game is. I didn't write times because some of them were still kind of to be determined on the times, and then who they're against, and then as the month progresses, I will hopefully remember to slap the score in to see how the Aggies did in the game. At the bottom here, I decided to kind of doodle a little Reveille to stealing the football. To be fair, Reveille knows better, and she didn't actually get on the field. She's well trained. She's a well-trained collie dog, but I liked the idea of her stealing the football, because that's something that, you know, a normal dog would do. Reveille won't, but a normal dog would do. So, in case you were curious, Reveille is, she's considered the first lady of A&M. So, basically, I'll give the rundown of the story of Reveille, because I actually made a whole spread just in honor of her. But, what is not included in that spread is that she has a handler, and her handler is I believe a cadet? No, I don't think it's a cadet. I think it's a corporal. Because A&M does have, is it ROTC? I'm totally butchering this, but they have a military affiliate, and so one of the military affiliate is in charge of Reveille, and so he is her handler, and so he's the one that escorts her to games. He's the one that's in charge of making sure she's fed and groomed and all that other stuff. Some of the rules about Reveille is if she barks in class, class is dismissed. And if she falls asleep on your bed, then you must not, she has your bed and you must find somewhere else to sleep. She is considered the first lady of Aggie Land, so she has had some perks and things. And for many years, the Reveilles of days past had basically free run of the campus, but after so many generations, they decided to make sure that she has a handler who is in charge of her, and she's not getting into too much trouble. So as for my football player, I just made up a random football player. I went with the number 12 because I thought the number 7 looked weird on the back of the jersey, and just kind of gave them the A&M colors because this was a practice game. If it was a real game, she'd steal it from the opposing team, but this one she ended up stealing it from a fellow player. Must have made the handler mad. And then I just added some background drop shadows and a border. Something I wanted to keep relatively cohesive through all of the spreads was the border. And that's, see here, I accidentally grabbed the wrong color. It's okay, it blends in. But just kind of kept it simple, kept the theme simple, and I'll catch up with you in the next spread. So since this particular spread was, well, let me rephrase this. So this particular month was all about Texas A&M, I wanted to include a spread that was the story of the original Reveille. So what you might not know is that Texas A&M was actually the first state college of the state of Texas, not the University of Texas. That's one reason why UT and A&M were rivals for so many years. However, I believe since Texas A&M changed their number, their stat, I forget what it is. They no longer play against UT, which that was usually the Thanksgiving game, the big college Thanksgiving game in Texas, but they no longer have it. I believe this year it's going to be against LSU. But anyway, I am terrible with football stats, so if I sound like an idiot, I apologize. I watch it for funsies. I am not a big football fan. I enjoy watching large men in padding hit each other. It's probably why I like hockey too. But anyway, so back to the story of Reveille. So when back in like 1931, back when the college was still very, very new, some cadets were coming back from out of town. I think they were in Navasota, and they accidentally hit a dog. And the original Reveille was this little black and white stray dog, which they had to sneak back into the barracks because pets weren't allowed on campus. And they to try to nurse her wounds and all this stuff because it was a female. Turns out that when Reveille was blown at the morning, at the barracks, she went bonkers. She just started barking like crazy, and that is how she became known as Reveille. Also back in the day, Aggie land, aka Texas A&M campus, was basically men only. Women were allowed to attend college, but they were not allowed to graduate from A&M. They had to transfer out. So, in short, that is why she's called the first lady of Aggieland, because she was the only one that was allowed to stick around. As that particular one passed away, they got other ones, and there was different dogs, but Reveille is the one that stuck. And they also transitioned to being collie dogs. That is why Reveille is the collie that she is. These days they are on Reveille 10. In case you're curious, she has her own Twitter page. She was the homecoming queen, I think, one year. She looked lovely. Crown and all. But anyway, I do apologize though. I did not have a printed out picture of the original Reveille when I did my spreads. Since then, I did print one out and I put it on that page. That's why there was that big blank space. And if you follow me on Instagram, I will make sure that that particular spread is complete when that picture is posted. In the meantime, I kind of jumped a little bit on that because you didn't need to see me writing all of that stuff about Reveille. So I went ahead and jumped it a little bit. Now we're on to the rolling total budget, which I do every single month. October and November, I will probably end up using both pages because 'tis the season for Christmas shopping. I am also getting very, very close to finishing off my student loans. I've got, a couple thousand left, and then I'm hoping against hope that I will be done by mid-November before Black Friday, so I can actually get some things, some decent presents and all that good stuff. In the meantime, I kept the rolling total budget just very simple because I don't mind adding extra doodles and stuff to my rolling total budget spread, but this is primarily to just kind of keep my brain on track of my finances. So whether or not it has the extra doodles and stuff is just kind of up to me. And then I just used my gray dot marker for the extra lines. I don't like to go too dark on the lines because then it distracts my eye and I lose track of where I am. But maroon, gray, and we just kind of keep moving. On to the next spread. Okay, so this one, I really enjoy doing my kind of my September reset on my habits to kind of make sure that I am taking walks in the mornings and I am doing yoga more than I was in August, because I think I only did it like once in all of August. I've beaten that number since then. Especially on the walks, it has started to cool down in the evenings real well, and as long as I make sure to get out there before it gets too dark, me and the dog have a great, lovely walk. Also, my sister has been keeping up with me a little bit more, and so if the wind's not too bad, I'll just walk while I talk, and I've been getting a lot of steps that way. But for this one, I wanted to do kind of a self-care check-in. So I would basically for the month of October, I am going to be fairly busy with work, but I still want to allot myself a little bit of extra pampering. So like if I do a hair mask or something, in that week I will write it down. If I go get a pedicure or something, write it down, etc., etc. So and I set it up just for the first 4 weeks because you never know what I'm going to be doing for Halloween. I may just honestly not have time. So we'll get it all in there. But in the meantime, Miss Reveille here was getting a little pampering, and I had a similar picture of her, but it was kind of angled. I kind of like the profile look here. I did a cartoony style Reveille, and I think she turned out great. Complete with a box of dog treats. So for a little bit of a change up here, this particular spread has nothing to do with me. 'Tis the season, the weather is changing, and my dog is shedding like an SOB. It's not his fault, he's getting his winter coat. But I have a horrible, horrible tendency to kind of forget until I need to vacuum that he is shedding. And not only that, but I need to trim his nails, brush his teeth, take him on walks, all that good stuff. So I decided to make a dog care tracker to kind of keep me more just in tune of when was the last time I brushed him, when was the last time I did his nail, clipped his nails. He's a great dog. He doesn't mind when I do that kind of stuff. He doesn't fight me. He does not like getting a bath. But, this will just kind of keep me on task of whether or not I have done what I need to do to keep him from leaving dog hair all over my carpet and or scratching up the floor with his nails. And just kind of, it was something I've never done, so I figured I would try it out, and hopefully it works. If it doesn't, sad, but if it does, I'll keep you posted. There is also an extra page in there, because I will be trying to do my Inky Arttober like I did last year. I don't think I will be filming it like I was last year. That was more of an experiment on my part. But I will be doing the doodles, and I will be at least taking pictures of them and posting them on my Instagram every day for the month of October, and just see how it goes. In the meantime, I went ahead and since there was so much drawing, and you can see that this particular video is getting very long, I only did the first week here for the plan with me. I will fill the rest of them in. They are sketched out and ready. Excuse me. Since there was only 3 days for the first quote-unquote week of the month, I kind of did this sticky note kind of style because, A&M is a college, and I know college kids, I was a huge fan of sticky notes, because if I didn't write it down, I didn't remember it even existed. And then as for this secondary page, this was actually inspired for something that I did last month. It was not in the plan with me, but I had an extra page, and so I designed it basically a T-chart. So if you followed me for a long time, hopefully you remember some of my older spreads. I used to do this T-chart. One side was weight, and the other one was like either sleep or something of that nature. So I've changed it up a little bit. One side is my weight, and the other is my hours of fasting. So to kind of see where my eating windows are falling and how long I'm actually making progress on my fasts. So it's midnight, and it's the even number hours, so midnight till like 10 p.m. You'll see it there. And then I mark the weekends just because it helps keep my brain in line. Otherwise I get lost in a sea of numbers. But that's basically what this particular chart is I have the weight tracker on top, and I have the fasting tracker on the bottom. And that's how that particular spread went. So as I finish this up, I just want to thank anybody and everybody who bothered to stop by and watch this video. Please, if you enjoyed it, give it a big old thumbs up. By all means, leave me a comment. I love when people leave comments. It makes my day. And If you really enjoyed my content, then by all means subscribe. I try to put it out at least a video a month. So in the meantime, here's the flip through, and just hope you enjoyed. Thank you again. Welcome to my new subscribers, and I'll see y'all next month. Bye.